Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. This is the 95th part of What If Deku Was Sanji's Reincarnation, My Heroes Reborn. The author of this great fanfic is Emily. Links to them and original story in the description. Chapter 95, Raid Meeting. Eri had learned to trust Kota enough so he could babysit her. It was a relief that he could because Sir Night-Eye called them to a meeting and Mirio went on ahead without them. You'll be good for Kota and Ida. I'll be back as soon as I can, said Izuku. Eri nodded. You can count on us for taking care of her, said Ida. Kota nodded in agreement. As they were leaving they ran into Mashireo, Momo, and Kirishima. So you're going to work studies too today? Asked Kirishima. Yeah, said Izuku. We have some sort of meeting today so we don't have to bring our costumes, said Todoroki. It's the same for us, said Momo. That was when Achiko, Toru and Tsuyu all left the dorms as well. Hey guys, heading to the train station, said Achiko. Yeah, said Izuku. Both of them began to blush a little. Seriously? Asked Katsuki with a sweat drop. They barely had time as a couple since they started work studies, let them have this walk, said Toru. The two held hands as they walked to the train station. Also along the way they ran into a hero offered to also walk them there. However, when they go the train station they all found they had to take the same train. They got on the train and Momo realized something. We're all going to a meeting without our costumes, she said. Yeah, said Izuku. We are, ribbit, said Tsuyu. Which stop are you getting off at? Said Momo. Izuku and Toru gave the same answer. Wait, you don't think we're going to the same meeting? Asked Izuku. It's entirely possible, said Momo. We shouldn't say where we're going until we get there, said Tsuyu. Everyone nodded in agreement. Though Izuku, Katsuki and Todoroki all knew that the location was Sir Night-Eye's agency, but they of course agreed not to say anything. They all headed in the same direction once they got off the train, though they did have to wrangle both Katsuki and Masahiro. They walked to the building they had to go to and it was confirmed, they were all going to the same meeting when they saw Mirio, Nijire and Tamaki waiting for them. They entered the building and it was filled with heroes. One of them shocked everyone from Class 1A as it was Aizawa. Another that surprised a few of them was Gran Torino. Gran Torino, said Izuku. So you're here, said Gran Torino. Yeah. I'm doing work studies with Sir Night-Eye, said Izuku. Gran Torino nodded. He was half expecting a call from Izuku when he heard that he passed his exam. Now he knew why he didn't. However, that was when Izuku realized something and he got an idea. He entered Sanji mode because of his idea. There's something I need to tell you, said Izuku. What is it? Asked Gran Torino. Izuku bent down and whispered. One of the reasons why Sir Night-Eye took me is so that he could convince me to give it to Mirio, said Izuku. Gran Torino knew what it was. Which one is Mirio again? He asked. Then he noticed Mirio, and who he looked like on a level. His eyes narrowed. He doing it subconsciously, said Izuku. Whatever, muttered Gran Torino. It was clear Gran Torino was pissed off. Izuku walked away from the old hero. What the fuck did you just do? Asked Katsuki, getting a bad feeling. Gran Torino was All Might's teacher when he was younger, said Izuku. I also did my internship with him. Katsuki was able to read between the lines, he knows about One for All. And the small old man looked pissed. Did just? Said Katsuki. Yeah. I did, said Izuku. Why? Said Katsuki. All Might is scared of him and well, said Izuku. Katsuki's sweat dropped, realizing the implication, that there might be a chance that Sir Night-Eye might be scared of the old man too. However, Sir Night-Eye came into the room. Thanks to the provided intel, we're making great strides in the investigation. The small organization known as Shai Hasaikai is plotting something. I've called a discussion to share exactly what we know, said Sir Night-Eye. Gran Torino glared at Sir Night-Eye. Sir Night-Eye saw the glare. On the outside he was calm and collected as always, however a part of him knew that Gran Torino was angry at him. What was worse, he then briefly looked at Izuku and Sanji mode smirked at him. And he realized what happened. Gran Torino wasn't happy that he was pressuring Izuku give of one for all. However, he pushed down his fear of the old hero. They all headed to the meeting room being held. They were given some of the info on what was going on, with Sir Night-Eye's other sidekick Centipeder explaining something. He was a humanoid centipede of some kind. Night-Eye's sidekick Centipeder here. Under Sir Night-Eye's orders I've been following some of the leads, said Centipeder. It should also be pointed out that his voice was extremely high-pitched. And Katsuki and Toru both tried not laugh at the voice, as it was first time meeting him for Katsuki and this was the first time Toru would meeting anyone from the agency. It's okay to laugh, said Centipeder, I'm used people laughing. Are you sure? Asked Izuku. Midoriya. I sound like a chipmunk, said Centipeder. He's right, you know, said Mirio. He left the two to get it out of their system before counting. At one point they made contact with the League of Villains. Even if nothing seemed to come from the meeting, it's still good to look into that's all it was or not, said Centipeder. It would make sense for them to lay low after the invasion, said Momo. We still don't know if they are contacted, but that's why me and Tsukachi were calling then, said Gran Torino. Where is Tsukachi? Asked the hero next to Gran Torino. Following up with more eyewitnesses, said Gran Torino. Gran Torino considered saying something to Izuku about getting into a mess, but considering everything Izuku had already been through, it honestly wasn't needed. So with everything we reached out to through the HN, said Bubble Girl. HN? Asked Achiko. It's a network for licensed heroes, you can check out all sorts of things, said Nijire, who explained the sorts of things that can be used. UA students or not. What are these kids doing here? They're just slowing us down, said the hero sitting next to Todoroki, who was known as Rock Lock. The sun's going to be down before we get to talking about the bad guys. Baloney, my students are super important participants, said Fat Gum standing. He was a rather large round man who was actually pretty cute. You mean us, said Kirishima. Aizawa groaned and knew he had to point out and 90 if these students were hit by Priestess's quirk, so take of that what you will. Wait, really? Asked Rocklock. All 9 of the hero students who were hit raised their hands. Did any of you know how to fight? Asked Rocklock. We were pirates, said Mirio Amo9 to himself, as well as Izuku and Katsuki. Myself and Momo were mages, said Nijire. Me and Tamaki were ninjas, said Achiko. I was a marital artist, said Mashireo. And me, you don't want to hear about me, said Toru. I get the odd feeling like I don't, said Rocklock. You also don't want to know about the pirates, muttered Aizawa. Fat Gum took control of the conversation, explaining how he was involving, including mentioning the drug that Tamaki was shot with, which all of the UA students knew about of course, and he was better. Tamaki showed off he still had his quirk by turning his arm into a cow hoof. So her recovered, that's a relief. Stuff must not be fatal, said Rocklock. No, on that point Eraserhead, said Sir Night-Eye. Aizawa explained how his quirk worked by preventing a quirk factor from activating while the quirk bullet damaged the quirk factor itself. Fat Gum then explained that they weren't able to find out anything from blood tests from Tamaki. However, they able to get a sample from the drug, as the gunman had also shot Kirishima with the drug, but he was using his quirk at the time and it bounced right off him. Good job, Kirishima. Cheered Ochiko. Way to go, said Katsuki with a smirk. I didn't know what I did. Kirishima admitted, somewhat embarrassed by the praise. Analysis revealed the most disgusting part, though, that substance used in the bullet were cells in human blood. Fat gum. Everyone was horribly shocked by this news. Fat Gum explained the details about what they had learned from the drug pusher they fought that was defiantly involved. Though there were a few heroes. Their young leader Chisaki and his quirk is Overhaul. The ability to dismantle and resemble with his quirk. A quirk that can destroy and then heal. Then we have bullets that destroy quirks, said Sir Night-Eye. Every single person in the room who was currently from UA quickly realized the person who was sourcely of the bullets. After all, it had to be, with all of her injuries and trauma. That person was Eri. However, there is some good news, said Sir Night-Eye. The person the bullets were made of was already rescued and secured. After she was rescued, a DNA test was run just in case, and it matched the DNA from the bullets. Are you the person is safe? Asked Rocklock. She is, said Izuku. You see, when we rescued her, she emotionally latched onto me and the police made me her guardian. She's at UA right now and some of my classmates keeping an eye on her. That was when Izuku got a weird feeling. Like it wasn't completely true at the moment, but brushed it off. Wait, is the person an adult? Asked Rocklock. She's a child, sighed Izuku. Those that didn't know either became shocked to hear that the person was child. Have you figured out her quirk? Asked another of the heroes. Izuku nodded. There was an incident recently and I found her quirk is able to de-age a living thing, said Izuku. I was there too, said Toru. How did you find out? Asked Rocklock. We ran into a hornet's nest while exploring, said Izuku. Yeah, they were really angry hornets, said Toru. Murder hornets? Asked a hero. Murder hornets, said Izuku. Yeah. I've been stung. It's true what they say about pain, not the worst pain I ever felt but definitely in the top 10, said the hero who asked that. So we already crippled them, said Rocklock. What else is there to do? There's a chance they might have figured out a way to duplicate the properties of her blood, said Sir Night-Eye. They might not even need her anymore. Everyone was quiet. I should also point something out, same our data came from a hacker, said Sir Night-Eye. Many heroes grew concerned. Is this hacker a hero? Asked Rocklock. Something like that, said Sir Night-Eye. I'm actually a hero's assistant, said Aiko, popping up from a nearby device. Of course she's involved too, said Aizawa. Are you hiding your identity? Asked Rocklock. This isn't a cell phone on speaker, this is a special device where I can contact you. My name is Aiko, which stand for Artificial Intelligence Knows Objectively, said Aiko. Objectively what? Asked Rocklock before anyone could stop him. That's better than you, said Aiko, who of course play the horn sound effects. Everyone who hadn't met her yet, which Fat Gum did due to the fact he was teaching Mashireo, had to properly introduce to her. All sweat dropped. But in all seriousness, I'm an AI created by Orchestra Rave. I have permissions to hack into various accounts and databases as part of investigations. Not only that, but I'm well versed in all sorts of PR methods in case the public takes the wrong way, like with Stain, and unlike Stain I know how to get the public on our side. How are you sure that will work? Asked Gran Torino. You won't be on the side of a child abuser? Asked Aiko. There was an awkward silence. You would have figured out a way to leak him being a child abuser, said Gran Torino. I'll figure it out, plus there's a chance his child abuse would be made public, plus there would be child murder and child torture involved, said Aiko. What happened to Eri is horrible and I hope his next life in something very karmic. No one wanted to say thing about what she just said, after all they had 9 people in the room that remembered their past lives. So yeah, with any info I can leak there is no way anyone would publicly take his side like Stain. Said Aiko. Aizawa sighed. There was something he wanted to know about Sir Night-Eye. There's something I need to know about your quirk. Said Aizawa, can't you use your quirk to see what will happen during this plan? Even if we have people who can honestly handle it on their own. He shot a glance at Sir Night-Eye's work-study students and gave quick of exasperation. What was that look about? Asked Rocklock. Midoriya was able to match all might and strength before that fight. Said Todoroki. Rocklock began to sweat. A lot of that came from his past life abilities, some of which Bakugo and Togata gained from their past lives. Said Todoroki. Rocklock sweated even more. That was not something he expected. Though Aizawa was still talking. But wouldn't it best to see what's in store for us? Said Aizawa, going forward without that information seems irrational. Io can't do that. Said Sir Night-Eye. Everyone was confused. My quirk has limitations. Said Sir Night-Eye. He explained his quirk. However, while he was able to see the future as if it was a movie, he could only see his target closely and couldn't really tell their surroundings. Is that enough though? Asked Aizawa. Well, for one thing, what if what awaited that person in the near future was death? A cruel and merciless death, even what then? Asked Sir Night-Eye. Both Izuku and Gran Torino knew exactly who he was referring to, All Might. I have trained my quirk to maximize success in battle. It's not meant to be used recklessly to view something with uncertainty. Said Sir Night-Eye. Seeing if we're going to die is pretty darn useful. Muttered Rocklock. I'm not a future teller. There's no guarantee that the future can't be avoided. Said Sir Night-Eye. Come on, Night-Eye. Yelled Rocklock, just take a look at me and see what life has in store for me. I can't. Said Sir Night-Eye, who was clearly depressed. And everyone could tell he was. However, there was still stuff to be done. All right, people. Let's get started and avenge the baby unicorn. Said Aiko. The various heroes were confused. That's my nickname for her. Her quirk gives her a little horn on her forehead and it's hard not to compare her to unicorn. Said Aiko, she's very adorable by the way, if you see pictures of her you'll understand Toru's rage now. Wait. Toru's rage? Asked Izuku. That was when he noticed that the air was black around Toru as she was laughing in that demonic voice she can do. How did I miss that? He thought with a sweat drop. Sir Night-Eye looked at the invisible girl, then at his work-study students. Mirio was confused while Katsuki and Izuku shook their heads no. He then looked at Aizawa, who looked like he didn't want to be there. Alright, thank you for your help. I will be giving everyone case files. Said Sir Night-Eye. He noticed the look Gran Torino was giving him. He knew they had to talk in private. Not too long later, all of the work-study students were sitting at a table in the lobby. All of them were dealing with learning what Eri had gone through. What she went through, said Izuku with Achiko laying her head on his shoulder, was worse than my past life. Said Momo. Those that knew her past life's childhood all nodded in agreement, which was most of the reincarnations, minus Miro and Tamaki, as well as the 3 relatively normal students. How bad was your childhood? Asked Mirio. Next time we have a session. Said Momo. Now I know what he did to her to take away her smile. And he will pay. Growled Toru. We have to make sure she doesn't kill him. Whispered Tsuyu. Don't worry, I won't kill him. Said Toru cheerfully, then switched back to the voice, but he will suffer. That was when Toru suddenly froze. What's wrong? Asked Achiko. I just got the feeling that someone made a pinky promise. Said Toru, eh? I'll worry about it later. That was when Aizawa came out of the elevator. Shouldn't you be getting back to Eri? He asked. Mr. Aizawa, said Tsuyu. You can call me Eraserhead outside of school, said Aizawa. It's better if we wait until most of us calm down, said Izuku. Most of you, said Aizawa. It was clear Toru wasn't calming down anytime soon, but she was arguably the closest to Eri after Izuku and Miro, due to him being one of the ones to rescue her. So she knew not to scare her. Aizawa still looked at his class. He knew all of had come to adore Eri. He had heard that Momo had developed a little habit of both making and buying gifts for Eri, and Izuku figured out a perfect dessert for Eri and Achiko to share and have the two bond over it, apple cinnamon rolls, as Achiko developed a taste for them after regaining her memories and apples for Eri. The others all figured out ways to get close to the girl. I have to admit for a second I did consider canceling your work studies when I heard that the League of Villains might be involved, but considering everything I knew I couldn't, said Aizawa. I doubt they're even involved, said Momo. They lost a lot during the invasion. Aizawa nodded in agreement. But I can tell you're all close to Eri and knew she dealt with a lot of pain in her past, said Aizawa. Way too much pain, said Momo. Even if I cancelled I wouldn't pass it past any of you to figure out a way to join in anyways, said Aizawa, especially Hagakure. Oh, you heard about how I got to Hosu, said Toru. I don't know how you got there, and that's what concerns me most, muttered Aizawa. Toru laughed. While those that didn't know what happened in Hosu were deeply concerned, the original five, especially Izuku and Mashireya, shook their heads no, while Todoroki just shrugged it. He still didn't know how she got there and he still didn't care. Still try not to not get distracted when the time comes, said Aizawa. I know you all care about her. If you get too upset during the mission you might lose focus. Like we haven't noticed you watching her play with senior cats that Rocky let her play with, said Katsuki. Aizawa sweated when he said, You noticed, said Aizawa. Yeah, / We noticed, said Izuku. Aizawa also wasn't immune to Eri's adorableness either, that much had to be said. Elsewhere in the building, Sir Night-Eye was rubbing his newly gained injuries. Though Sir Night-Eye did let him in on why Izuku was doing work studies. Still, the reason why he asked Izuku left him pissed. I still can't believe her told you, / muttered Sir Night-Eye. Clearly you haven't seen much of spiteful pirate side, muttered Gran Torino. Sir Night-Eye nodded. I'm still getting used to Miro's new personality, said Sir Night-Eye. You still don't have a right to judge Toshinori's choice. It's his decision, not yours. I understood that it wasn't my decision that Nana chose him, just like you should respected his choice for the kid, muttered Gran Torino. I have started to see what All Might sees in him, said Sir Night-Eye. Yet you can't help but to see what you saw in your kid, said Gran Torino. What does that mean? Asked Sir Night-Eye. I want you to really look at the kid. Really look at him, said Gran Torino, then you'll understand one of the reasons why I'm angry. Sir Night-Eye was confused. And it would still while. Sometime later, the members of Class 1A returned to the dorm. They saw Ida and Kota looked oddly exhausted, but Eri was playing with a large red and orange bird. Toru seemed to freeze when she saw the bird. But no one noticed. How'd it go? Asked Izuku. It was fine. Very much fine, said Ida, much suffer than usual. Kota nodded way too ecstatically. That raised alarm bells in everyone's minds. However, Toru knew exactly what to ask. Ida. Kota, why does Eri have a phoenix from Equestria? Asked Toru. Both boys froze. Indeed, their little stint at babysitting was far more chaotic than anyone was expecting. That will be it for this part. I hope everyone enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like and comment if you want part 96. If you want to hear more from me, subscribe. I hope to see you all in the next one.